Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another book tag. Today's book tag is called the Booktuber Name Tag, and Trinity over from Portable Magic tagged me for this, so thank you, Trin, for tagging me. Let's jump right into this tag. First question: books on your TBR that you keep putting off. I have quite a few books that I keep putting off, and just the ones, I mean, they immediately pop into my mind. Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This is book 2 in the King Killer Chronicles, and as we all know, he's never finishing book 3. We're never gonna get it. You know you're never gonna get it. You know you're never gonna get it. We're never gonna get it. So I read book 1 last year. It was last year. I have not gotten around to book 2 because, and I did that on purpose. I did this on purpose because I know that we're never gonna get book 3. So I was like, if I can finish book 1 and not have the need to binge, like to go right into book 2, then I will be able to stop after book 2 and never need a third book. It will be fine. It'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. I plan on, I mean, it's mental. It's a mental thing. I plan on getting to the Wise Man's Fear next year. I'm not going to get to it by the end of this year. It is going to be a thing for next year. So stay tuned for my thoughts on that. Next one is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I keep putting this off because, y'all, it's 1,000 pages long. It's 1,000 pages. The only reason that this is on my TBR is because my dad told me that I would love this. I'm not a Brando Sando fan. I have tried Skyward. I DNF'd that at book 3. I tried Mistborn. I DNF'd that at book 2. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm into Brando Sando. I'm in the minority. His writing. I think it's his writing, to be honest. Dad was like, listen, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love Way of Kings. Why, Dad? Why am I gonna love it? And he's like, it's got everything you want in a story. And he went on to tell me, and then someone else sent me a video on why you should read Way of Kings, and I was like, all right. You're kind of selling me. You're kind of selling me on this, okay? I think I'm going to try it. But it's a chunker. And I do not read chunkers. I will just fade away. Like, it better be good. Like, it has to hook me in order for me to stay in a story that long. Song of Achilles, another one I keep putting off. The reason I keep putting this one off is because I have to be in a mood, and I did try this. I gave it like a little sampling, you know, like at the beginning of the year sometime, and I was like, you know, I think I'm gonna like this, but I don't think the audio is for me. This is another example where I will have to just read the physical copy of this for me, for my mind to really be engaged and like ingratiated into the story. So yes, I will get to this just in the physical format. The Ninth Reign. This one, again, has to be a physical read because I was looking for the audiobook and Libby did not have this on audio for me, so this will be a physical read. And I actually heard about this a while back from Elliot Brooks. I think this is one of her favorite series. It intrigued me. It really intrigued me. I think I'm gonna give it a go. I don't like epic fantasies, y'all. I don't do epic fantasies, but I'm not sure how epic of a fantasy this is. Like, it's epic. I'm sure it is epic. Like, you know, in the way we describe what epic is. Again, physical copy, a physical read. I'll eventually get to this. Octavia Butler. This author, anything by Octavia Butler, I put off. And it's a mood. It's a mood. It's a mood. She is a sci-fi author, and I honestly think I have to be in a mood for it. I have to be in the mood for it. There's only like 2 books on my TBR that interest me, that she has written. So I know I have 2 on my TBR written by her for sure. And I think Kindred is one of them, and I can't remember the second one that I have on my TBR from her. But I think that I will, in the month of February, for Black History Month, I think that I am going to dive into Octavia Butler read. Lastly, East of Eden. East of Eden, It's a classic. I don't like classics. It's long, but the only reason that this has been on my TBR, which is the reason I keep putting it off, because I'm not interested in the way classics are written, and if it's long, I'm just gonna put it off. The reason that I would even consider East of Eden is because of the storyline. It is mentioned in songs, it is mentioned in movies. Like, this story is referenced in the culture as a whole, considering what it's about and the biblical elements. Like, Cain was sent to the East of Eden. He was cast away to the East of Eden. So the whole premise of this and the biblical like background intrigues me. But honestly, I think I'm going to watch the movie. I think I'd rather watch the movie than read this book. I don't think I'm ever going to get to this in book form, but I will watch the movie. Question number 2. A novel idea. A book with an interesting premise or plot device. I have several for this one. First one is one of my favorite stories of all time, Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Y'all know I love this. I love this. This is golden. It's a golden nugget. This is one of the best mysteries of all time, in my opinion. You have atmosphere. You have, it has whimsy, more beautiful prose in the writing, descriptive. So if you don't like that writing style, this wouldn't be your cup of tea, but it nails atmosphere. Atmosphere completely. In my opinion, this is the best And Then There Were None Agatha Christie retellings. And of course, Agatha Christie, our author Alice Feeney, loves Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. Like, she incorporates her inspirations into her stories. Because the next one I'm gonna say that I don't have on my shelf would be Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. These two books, Daisy Darker and Rock, Paper, Scissors, are the best mysteries. They're right up there on the best mysteries of all time. These two are her best works. And the plot devices in this. It's the plot twists. The twists are amazing. She is the plot twist queen. My other answer for this would be the Lunar Chronicle series by Marissa Meyer. It's so interesting what Marissa Meyer has done with this story. It is a YA sci-fi fairy tale retelling. She nails it. She does it so well. This was something I never would have thought that I would have enjoyed, but I did. I loved it thoroughly. I read this years ago, and it was one of the series that got me back into reading. It is like a fun, lighthearted, convenient. Everything in this that happens is like, oh, that's convenient. But it's a good time. This is a real good time, and I do recommend this. This is a great YA series. Also, I have my clipboard, my handy dandy clipboard with my answers, and I looked on here, and my dad happened to like, he has written, for some of these questions, he has written his own answers. So I feel like he's like popping in. He's popping in to say, he has a suggestion for this one. So my dad's answer for this would be Dorothy Sayers' The Nine Tailors, the book or the movie. My dad is a huge Dorothy Sayers fan. Him and I have completely different tastes, okay? He loves the classics, like 18th century stuff as well. Not my cup of tea. Every once in a while, him and I will like agree on something and love the same thing. But so like, I only have one Dorothy Sayers book on my TBR, and even then I'm like, I'll probably just watch the movie because I know nothing about this, but this is his answer. Number 3, Revenant Reads, a book where someone returned from the dead. I don't read books like this. Now, the way I took it was really paranormal, coming back to life, or literally coming back to life, resurrected, or I also had like perceived it to be if someone was believed to be dead. Like, if you think a person is dead, they look dead, but they're really not. I have 2 answers for this. Literally coming back from the dead, my first answer is, which really is only one book that I've read that has that in it. like actual resurrection, would be Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is book 1 in the Villain series, and yeah, I just learned it's not too long ago it's actually going to be a trilogy. I am excited for book 3. God, give me book 3 now. It's either at the end of this one or it's in the very beginning of Vengeful. I think it's, I don't remember. It's either at the end of this one or the very beginning of Vengeful, so take that as it is. And I don't like Schwab. I tried Schwab. I don't know why I say her name like that. V.E. Schwab. I'm a goof. I have tried multiple times reading some of Schwab's other books, and I just don't get on with her. So like tickled me pink. I love this series. I don't know what it is. I got on with her. Her and I got along great with this series. This one is my cup of tea. I love this series. I couldn't get enough of it, so I highly recommend the audio for this series. My second pick, if I'm perceiving it in the way of someone was believed to be dead but they're not, would be Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This one, our main character, Elin, everyone thinks that her brother is dead. And this is at the beginning of the book, so this is not a spoiler. Literally, you start off in the battle scenes and she sees her brother. And first, she thinks she's seeing a ghost, but it turns out, no, her brother is alive and he is fighting with their enemy, the opposite Viking clan. You've all been on my channel. You know that this is another one of my favorite stories of all time. It's a duology, and if you're gonna read a Viking story, this is YA. One of the best YA stories I've ever read. If you're gonna read a Viking story as well, please, Criminal. A book where a crime takes place. There are so many stories where a crime takes place. It's like, oh my God, all right, like. So a lot of my answers for these are going to be my favorites, a lot of my favorite books. So I have 2 for this one. 40 Elephants by Aaron Bledsoe. It's one of my favorite historical fiction novels. Again, this is a debut. Beautiful. You would never know. Following Alice Diamond, she became the leader of the all-female gang in, I think, 1940s London. The gang was called the 40 Elephants, as you can see of the title. This is a heist story. Now, I have read several heist stories, and the way they're written, it's just, I'm not a big fan, but this was so good. The heist in this was great. Everything in this was great. So this is my first pick for this one. My next option for this is the Firefly series. Y'all know I'm a Firefly nerd. I love it. But there are people that don't know that after the TV series got booted, because the show was ended so abruptly, like there were things like and that's why they came out with the movie Serenity. But even then, like, you don't know the backstory of our characters. And the books, they're not all written by the same author. So there are several authors that are writing these novels. But they are written to like follow after the movie. I think it was either after the episodes and before the movie, or after the movie. I don't remember. But in these books, you get character backstories, you get more of an understanding of how everything is cohesive, like, and how everything just kind of intertwines. You understand our characters better. The Firefight crew, like, each book represents one character, I believe. So like, you're following, like, book 1, I remember because I've read all of them, or I've listened to the audio for all of them. Book 1 is Malcolm, and you're going into his backstory. 1 is about Inara, 1 is Wash and Zoe, and then you have Kaylee, like the and Shepherd book. Like, you go into their backstory and their history. So you're welcome. If you're a Firefly nerd and you didn't know that these novels existed, there you go. Audio is fantastic. Our narrator, it's not the same I can't remember if it's the same narrator for every single novel. I think it is. Our narrator for most of the novels anyway, because it's been a while since I've listened to them. Oh, I binged it. When I found out that these existed, I just boop, 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 back to back to back to back. I couldn't get enough. Literally like watching an episode. In my mind, I was literally watching another episode of Firefly, and it just hit the spot. It hit the diggity dang spot. Our narrator for this captures our characters like none other. He does their voice inflections, like whenever he is going from Wash to Zoe to Malcolm, like, you know who is talking because he can mimic their voices so well. And their person, it's not just like their voices, their essence. He captures our character's essence and personality. It is a job well done. That man deserves a cookie. My dad. Popping in again to say his answer, and this is the same answer. Dorothy Sayers and Nine Tailors. He's like, Dorothy Sayers. I'm like, Dad, what? He's like, the people need to know. Make sure the people know. So listen, people. Read this or watch this. Apparently he loves this and it's important. Number 5, book time with Elvis. So Elvis does not make an appearance in any of my stories. I'm not reading books about Elvis. I thought this was a funny one. I'm like, are people out there, is Elvis popping up in people's stories? He's never popped up in any of mine. So this is going to be a movie answer, not a book answer. Elvis made an appearance in Forrest Gump, so movie answer, Forrest Gump. Elvis makes an appearance in this one, and Forrest Gump happens to be the inspiration and the reason Elvis does his little leg jig. Next up is book buds, book with a great friendship. My answer for this one is Cackle. I will talk about this more in depth in my July wrap up, so stay tuned for that. This is so good, y'all. I loved this story. It actually made me think, I don't think I've ever read a story where there was an actual friendship. Like, there's not a lot of stories where people are writing like real friendships, because this story, that's like the main thing in this story, is our two main characters and their friendship. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's positive. It's like positive femininity, how their friendship, our one main character Sophie, how she really makes, I can't remember our other main character in this at the moment, but she really changes the life of our other MC in this and makes her better, and how they interact together. And it's just, this is such a beautiful message to this story, but their friendship is the heart of the story. So that's my answer for this one. It's not just, oh, it's a story and they have a great friendship. It's the heart of the story itself, and that is a beautiful thing, and I loved it for that. Okay, I have another answer for this one as well, and again, this is another recent find that I read in the month of July. The Stephanie Plum detective series. This series was written in the 90s, so there's tons of 90s nostalgia in this, but and again, I will go more into depth in review in my wrap up. I think it's in book 3 is when the friendship starts. Our main character Steph, who becomes a bounty hunter, she forms this relationship with this woman Lula. Lula just started working for her cousin, Stephanie's cousin Vinny, at the bounty hunter office. But as the story of this continues, Steph and Lula are really good friends. Like, Lula is a girl's girl. Lula is, she has her back. Steph will call her up and be like, yo, I need to do a B&E. She's like, you read my mind. Breaking and enter is my favorite thing. She goes over to her apartment, just shows up at like midnight, like wearing a towel. I don't know. And Lula's like, I guess you're staying. You staying the night? Like, Lula is down for anything. Steph could literally tell her anything, could ask her to do anything. Lula is down for it. It is shenanigans, and their friendship I'm living for, because right now, currently at this time that I'm filming this, I'm on book 8. I think I'm on book 7 or 8. I don't even remember what number I'm in, y'all. This is the longest series that I've ever started. I think there's like 30 something books in this series. So I'm on book 7 or 8, okay? I really hope that it is brought to the spotlight. My dad's pick for this one is Lonesome Dove. Now again, for Lonesome Dove, I think I'm gonna watch the movie. I'm not gonna read the book, I'm gonna watch the movie. I think he said Reese Witherspoon plays in this movie. There's Tommy Lee Jones and Reese Witherspoon when Reese Witherspoon was like a teenager, when she was like 16. Actually, this is on my soon-to-be watch list. So Lonesome Dove, I am gonna watch this. Number 8, Obscured Book Adventures. A book you love that never gets talked about. My pick for this is this one right here. The Light Between Worlds by Laura E. Wayworth. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. It's a YA historical fiction. This is very Narnia inspired. It's a portal fantasy, World War II historical fiction. This never gets talked about on Booktube. This is an amazing story, and it's a beautifully written story about depression. So beautifully written and so well done. You're captivated by the writing. So if you love beautiful prose, you love the Narnia-esque portal fantasy type feel, love it. And oh my god, the fantasy world in this is called the Woodlands, and we have a guardian of the Woodlands, which is a majestic stag. His name is Service. I love Service. Fantastic story. My dad's pick for this one is The Letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. That's his answer for this one. Next is Savage Reads. People Acting Beastly, or it's a story about a beast. Vicious Again by V.E. Schwab, because our main characters in this, they're crazy. They're two sociopaths that are trying to kill each other, doing death experiments. It's fantastic, but yeah, they're a little crazy. My second answer is Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst. This one is literally about monster racing. The monsters in the story are called Keyhawks. This is a YA fantasy, and it is the only desert fantasy story that I have liked. My dad's pick for this is Voyage of the Dawn Treader. His writing, I'm telling you, it looks like Trader, but he was like, it's Treader. Treader, there's an E. I'm like, Dad, there's no E in this, but okay, it's Treader. Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis. And lastly, where does your channel name come from? And let's pick a book to go with it. So my channel name, Here There Be Stories, was actually inspired by Captain Barbossa. In Pirates of the Caribbean movie 1, him and Jack Sparrow, where it was a fighting scene near the end of the movie, and Captain Barbossa goes, "You're on the edge of the map, mate. Here there be monsters." So I was like, okay, that inspired me. I saw that immediately and was like, thank you, Captain. Considering pirate and sea themed, my book of choice for that would be, again, one of my favorite stories of all time, Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha E. Levenseller. It's a YA fantasy series. Our beloved main character, our beloved main female character, fiery, sassy, spunky, sarcastic Alosa, is set on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove. Pirate Captain Alosa deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. So good, y'all. Highly recommend. I am going to do an honorable mention. Now, this is not a book, but because I'm a story nerd, I consume stories. I love talking about stories, books, movies, RPGs, games. A story is a story, no matter what format. Bonus pick honorable mention for this is Candela Obscura. This is a new gaming system created by Critical Role. It's eldritch horror based. So for the monster part of my channel, like it was originally Here There Be Monsters by Captain Barbossa, I turned it into Here There Be Stories. So for the pirate theme, I chose my first pick, Daughter of the Pirate King, for the monsters theme where the original line comes from. This is my bonus pick for that. Eldritch horror, Victorian era type feel. If you go onto Critical Role, they have a Candela Obscura playlist. There are 3 episodes or chapters per story. The latest one, Liam O'Brien was the GM, and the title for that story was called The Circle of the Crimson Mirror. I did not like the ending. I just finished it a few days ago and I did not like the ending. It was convoluted to me, but the storyline and the atmosphere, Liam was fantastic. He draws you in immediately. I was hooked. He's so good at capturing emotion and atmosphere. It's an eldritch horror thriller, atmospheric, cinematic. It's so good. It's all about the characters and the plot, and there is a beautiful balance between the two because it's investigation heavy. This is Candela Obscura is, if you're a character in Candela Obscura, you are a part of a paranormal detective agency, and the improv really make it. It's so good. It's one of my favorites of all time. So yeah, that's it, y'all. That's the tag. Thank you, Trinity, again for tagging me. If you like this video, and give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming bookish content. And as always, happy reading, and I will see you in my next video. Cheers.